Have you ever found yourself on a shoot where you're literally on the opposite side of the world, your luggage hasn't left the departing airport, and your gear stops working due to overheating? Yeah, me neither. Liar! So I've just got back from I think around 20-ish days of traveling around the States, and this is my 7th or 8th trip of the year. So I've had a lot of time to kind of break down and understand what I need and what I don't need on some shoots. So being the gearhead that I am, I've deeply researched and now invested in 5 pieces of gear that have completely changed the game when it comes to travel filmmaking. And the main aspects of what I was looking for with these items is 1, lightweight, 2, multi-purpose, and 3, as fail-proof as possible. So let me get into them. So first up is this monster here. This small rig NPF style battery is a mini tank. It packs 10,500 milliamps, and let me tell you, I generally use this all day without worrying about it at all. So I did the only logical thing you do when you find a piece of gear that works really well, and that's just to buy a second. So to give a little bit of context, over the past few weeks, I've been in Colorado, Hawaii, and New York. With Colorado and Hawaii mainly being to make documentaries, and New York was more of a content trip, but Hawaii especially, I was outside all day without really anywhere to charge new batteries. I was out in high temperatures, I was on a boat, in an ATV in the woods, on top of a mountain or a cliff edge, whatever you want to call it. I was in a lot of places where there's just no power, and places that aren't really camera friendly, so I don't want to lug around a load of extra gear that I don't necessarily need. And why these batteries were such a game changer is, even though I was mainly using them in my monitor, because of the built-in USB-C port, I was able to charge so many devices whilst being out. I used it to charge my phone, my time code generators, and even at times my drone, just because it lasted so long. I just didn't have to worry about the amount of charge it had, because it had enough charge to power my monitor all day and charge multiple devices and still have like 10-15% left. You just can't go wrong with this. And it also has this LED screen that gives you a measurement of how much power is left in the battery. I do genuinely recommend these because they are so reliable, and it just means you don't have to lug around so many spare batteries. Next up is this Portkeys L8-7P monitor. If you've ever been outside where it's really bright and you're there like this trying to work out what the monitor says, not what it says, what the monitor is showing so you can get your exposure, get your framing right, but it's just too bright. Or maybe you've been in an interview and your monitor is great, but the fans start to kick in and now it's ruining your audio from the interview. This monitor is the solution. This thing is bright enough to handle shooting in sunlight without a big shade hood to bulk up the setup. It's also pretty color accurate, and most importantly, it doesn't break the bank. Now, it's not going to record in ProRes or take reference screenshots on it, but it does the job of a field monitor. If you want to show what your camera shows in a bigger way and in daylight where your camera monitor can't really handle it, this does the job. It doesn't weigh much, coming in at 245 grams. Although it does get a little bit warm, it's never overheated on me, and there's no loud fans that are going to distract from your audio. Now, I do have other monitors like my Blackmagic Video Assist, my Hollyline Pyro 7, and those are all great, but there's a time and place for every tool, and in a lot of travel scenarios, this is the best tool for that. It is color accurate for what you need. It tells you your exposure, it shows you what your camera is showing you in bright daylight. It just does what you need it to do. It has all the bells and whistles of the LUTs, the waveform, false color, all that stuff that is in every monitor pretty much. It has all of that. So if I would recommend a monitor for you to get, it'd be this one. So I know you've been there when you go chop footage from a drone or your GoPro and you realize you don't have that adapter to go from microSD to SD card. Or maybe you start shooting on CF Express Type A's, but you remember your Mac only has a port for SD cards. Well, I've been there too. And that's why you need to get yourself one of these. This is a Freewell card reader. Now, I'll be honest, this was very kindly sent over to me by the guys at Freewell, asking for nothing in return. And when I got it, I was a little bit skeptical. It was like, do I really need one of these? You know, my card came with card readers. My Mac has an SD card reader. I already have that adapter for microSD. So do I really need this? But oh, was I wrong? Especially when traveling, this thing is so clutch. You know, not having to worry about multiple different dongles and adapters. This is a complete life changer. Life changer, game changer, lifesaver, same thing. So in my FX6, I have CF Express Type A's. In my FX3, I have SD cards. In my drone, I have micro SD cards. And then one of the other shooters I was filming with, he uses CF Express Type B's on his Canon, I think. So that's 4 different types of media and way too many dongles and adapters to maintain, especially when you're dropping so much footage onto the one SD card or one SSD. It's just too much to keep going back and forth, back and forth. Whereas I can just put all of those forms inside the one reader and it does it all. And better yet, it also stores your cards. So not only can it read different formats, it can also store this many cards. Just don't forget to take out the micro SD card from the reader and put it back into your drone. Otherwise, you'll be limited to that 2 minutes of internal storage. Learn that the hard way. Now, it's pretty obvious what these are, but if you don't know, they are called lifesavers, but they go by this name of Apple AirTags. Now, this little AirTag I put in my suitcase upset a very stubborn airport staff member. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, why? What are you doing? I'm joking, but it's here below. I was posting stories of daily updates of what was happening with my luggage. But yeah, get a pack of 4 of these AirTags, put them everywhere. Your keys, your bag, I even have it on my FX6. Can't really see it here. But this thing here is where an AirTag is hidden. It's very discreet, it doesn't look very obvious where an AirTag would be. It's not something you can rip off, like you have to screw it open with these weird D-shaped screws for a reason to open the cover, get the AirTag off, and then screw that off. It's a whole ordeal to be able to break that off, so I'm quite happy with that system. But yeah, I'll link all in below for how you can get your AirTags in different hidden positions on your camera, whether it's a big camera like that or just a small mirrorless camera like your FX3, A7s, all that kind of stuff. And the last item I have, and I promise not to be so long with this, is a mini leaf blower. I know, not one of those massive weapons your neighbor starts using at 8 AM on a Saturday morning. One of these pocket-sized air compressors, or not compressors, just a air blower at a fast rate thing, a strong air blower. Now you may think, why do I need this? But trust me, dust builds up everywhere, and you can get that small kind of dust you get of a lot of camera accessories, and yeah, it's great, but if you really want to get rid of dust and almost anything, this is your best bet. It's rated at 150,000 RPM, whatever that means in blower lingo. It can blow down on a scale like 180 grams, which that doesn't seem like a lot of weight, but when you think like blowing, that's quite a lot from this tiny thing that is the same size as my iPhone. But I use this on literally everything: my lenses, my cameras, the sensor of my camera on the lower setting, of course, clearing my desk, my keyboard, everywhere where dust builds up or just stuff builds up, this thing gets rid of it. Because let me turn it on. Let me hear how powerful this thing is. So this is, I'll do the least powerful. It's cute. We'll do the second level. That's already quite intense. Oh my goodness. And then the third level. This level, you can't just press the button and leave it. You have to hold it down because it is so intense and it drains so much power. But just be careful not to get too carried away with it, because it can literally mess up your whole home with how powerful this thing blows. So that is it for my 5 travel essentials, and this stuff has saved me numerous times, especially on this most recent trip. When you're traveling and shooting, having the right tools can really make or break your shoot day, so get good gear that's going to allow you to stress less and create more. But yeah, that is pretty much it from me. So I hope you've got a lesson, laugh, or light bulb moment from this video. And if you have, I'd really appreciate it if you could drop a like down below. And if you're feeling nice enough, you could hit the subscribe button. But with that being said, I will catch you in the next one.